Okay, there we go. It is live. So the first one says explore the anatomy of peace, part 4, by discussing each of the following. Discuss the peacemaking pyramid. That's the one that they explain at the end, right? The little what you do wrong, correctness, teach and communicate, this thing.
I think so. It says influence pyramid, but that was the one that I was thinking it was, is the peacemaking.
Yeah, because peacemaking, well, you do these things to have peace with someone else for the most part. That's what it says with the reading. It's all about making peace with their children and with coworkers for Lou and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh, where is that one? I was thinking the one on page 218, since it's
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's the same one. It's just
yeah. Okay.
throughout the book.
Yeah.
218 has all the parts filled in.
Uh-huh. Yep. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So it says discuss 3 lessons of the pyramid.
Oh. Okay.
So teach and communicate, listen and learn, build the relationship. The others.
I think the lessons are what's in chapter 23.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He goes over each of those lessons. So that lesson 1 on page 221 says most time and effort should be spent at the lower levels of the pyramid, and those are the ones he explains that it's anything under the correct, so any of those.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's usually the things that you need to change rather than the things other people need to change.
Yes.
I don't know. What I got from it is that it's kind of like the ones where you start seeing them as humans, not objects.
So you get out of the box and see them as a human, and yeah.
I had something else for those. Basically, that all of the lower level ones have to do with habits.
Uh-huh.
And that's the. Oh, actually, that's in lesson 3 that I will talk about. Okay, but they all interrelate, really.
Yeah. Well, because he kind of ties it all up, because it's the ending of the book too, I'm sure. But
Right.
he ties it all up in part 4 as to why he taught them the first couple lessons and why he couldn't teach them the pyramid fully before, because they wouldn't have understood it.
Yeah. They had to understand that very bottom part, the getting out of the box and obtaining a heart of peace. So they didn't understand that, then couldn't really go into the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was interesting, because as a reader, I felt so lost at the beginning. And then right at the end, I was like, oh, that's what this book is all about. Because, like, it was good, and it had little subtext, but you could never truly see the full picture, and I guess that frustrated me. And then once I got to the end, I was like, oh, okay, this is the full picture. Got it.
Yep. Yeah. So let's see, lesson 2. The solution to a problem at one level of the pyramid is always below that level of the pyramid.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it and like build the relationship is underneath listening and learning, and you're not really going to listen to their problems and get to know them, you know, and learn from them if you don't have a relationship. So if it's not working to listen and learn, you probably have to build the relationship, and you know, it just out of the box very first. You can't keep seeing them as an object.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's almost like you have to have that foundation to be able to try to correct someone. You have to show that you've corrected yourself almost. That, like, I constantly correct myself to be right, like in the right, you know, not right completely, but in the right headspace. And then when you give correction, it's out of love instead of out of selfishness.
Yeah. And I think that if they see like you changing and you making an effort instead of you just trying to change them, it would probably soften their heart. And
yeah. In my mission, something that we always did, because I had to do a lot of exchanges, I was one of the sister training leaders for a long time, is just you would confide in them one of your issues, and then it was so much easier for the other sisters to confide in you their issues. Because it was like you make yourself vulnerable at first. Like, okay, well, I'm going to be as honest and vulnerable right now as I can be. And then it kind of invites the same.
Yeah, I remember times where like I'd be struggling with a companion and sister training leader would come, but I didn't want to like put my problems on her. She's got enough other problems. Like she's dealing with all the other sisters. So I would never bring things up until, you know, she'd start, this isn't going right.
Well, sometimes it shows like, look, I'm human too. I have difficulties with my comp as well. Like it's like marriage, you know. I have problems with my husband. You can have problems with yours, you know.
Yeah.
This announcing that we're both human and we know it. Okay, now we can have a conversation.
Yep. Yeah, very true. But if you're not willing to change, then going up and trying to change them is just, it's not going to do anything.
Child. Stay still. Okay. The third lesson. I think I had it and then I lost it.
Yeah, it's 223.
It doesn't help that I have baby fingers with the pages going on. Okay. So ultimately, my effectiveness at each level of the pyramid depends on the deepest level of the pyramid, my way of being. So a heart at peace, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to war, if you're going to have peace towards that person.
Right. And that's the part where it's like everything above the lowest level of the pyramid is a behavior.
Yeah. Well, and he talks about if you're correcting people, then you can't get past that or whatever. Like your what's it called? The collision thing diagram.
Collision diagram.
You're inviting war or whatever. Okay. So, have you been impacted as you have read this book? I think we kind of talked about the impacts a little bit.
Yeah. I think it just kind of just like, I don't know, changed my point of view on a lot of things of how to like build relationships with others when things aren't going right. Like the better way to fix it instead of just expecting them to change and everything to be better. Like you've got to do part of it.
Yeah.
It's not just up to them.
Well, and I think sometimes if you actually invite them to kind of correct you, it helps too. Saying, look, I have issues too that I'm sure you've noticed, you know. You could help me, I'll help you, and we'll help each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Peekaboo. She's crazy. She thinks this is peekaboo. She raised her hands up above her head. I don't know why. Okay. How can the lessons you have learned help you professionally and personally?
Well, I mean, professionally, in our profession, it's a people profession. Like, we're always going to be working with people, and we're not always going to get along with them. It's just how life is, and so, you know, just kind of the way of how we can treat those under us and treat those above us and treat those we don't see eye to eye with, so we can, so that way we can work on treatment teams together and work with other people who see things differently and do well.
Well, and learn to not just love our clients and want to serve them, but our coworkers as well. To not just see them as, you know, these robots, but as our team members.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially, like, the more we talk about leadership and management, the more I realize, like, it's vital that you get along with all your workers, your employees. Or not even your employees, if you're just management, like all those you supervise. And that they trust you, you trust them, it's a good situation. Like in the book with Lou and what's her name? Kate? Katie? It talks about how, like, he thought the ladder was a ridiculous idea, so he got rid of it. But then he realized that she was actually doing so much good by trying to inspire them.
Uh-huh.
You need a new day. You. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, discuss budgets and funding. Did we want to say anything else about the book?
Did we talk about personally much or just professionally?
Oh yeah. Personally, I think it just helps you address in your own mind and reflect on your relationships and how they're going. If you're that Lou character.
Yeah, I don't know, just none of our kids are going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So I think in that aspect, it kind of helps with, okay, when we have a kid that's causing problems, how's the best way to approach it? And
oh yeah, because we're all LDS women, so families are pretty big. Pretty big responsibility. Yeah. No, it's been fun thinking about what type of mom I want to be. If I want to be, a corrector and discipliner, or one that like more talks to their kids and takes the time. Which at times I thought, oh, I'll for sure want to talk to them and do all this and do all that. But once in a while, I catch myself like automatically disciplining Peyton, even though she's only 10 months. She doesn't really know what she does wrong. Sometimes I think she does. But I just automatically like, oh, we need to teach her not to do that. Like, how can we teach her not to do that? And then I realized she's little. She's still figuring it out. And if at this point I'm already confused sometimes, maybe I will be with teenagers for sure. Like, I want to punish you, but I want to love you, but not sure where we're at. So. Ow.
Yeah. All right. Should we go into the budgeting and the funding?
Yeah. Sorry, she's so loud.
Sure.
Yeah. What are the 4 types of budgets as presented in your readings or the podcast? Provide an example of each type of budget. So I actually took notes. Ooh.
Good.
All of them for the most part.
Yeah, I have my notes from the podcast out in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like a little bit lower it shows us all of the different ones we can choose, right? So we probably just need to talk about 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then summarize what's unique and what situation they'd be used.
Zero-based was the one where it's going to end up 0 by the end of the month.
Right.
You used all the money in your record keeping.
Yeah.
I think they were saying it's best for I can't remember my notes exactly. There's a certain type of population or facility.
Well, what I put was that it like justifies your programs, and so it's probably just for like a smaller program.
We need this grant. This is what it's going to go towards. We planned it. We're not just going to blow it.
Yeah, you know exactly where each dollar's going, and it's being spent for a purpose.
Yeah.
And then they're much more likely to give you that money. They know where it's going.
Well, I think that's what, I don't know, my twin sister looked into grant writing for a while, and she said grant writing was a lot like that, trying to get the money for the program and justifying why.
Right. So I have the transcript for the podcast up. And it just says zero-based budgets are handy for people who are establishing new programs, so like new directors. Downside is that they're very time-consuming.
Yeah, I believe that every cent has to be accounted for.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's, what's unique about it is that everything is completely accounted for, where it's going, and you don't have money left over. A lot of the other ones you're trying to save up for something or earn money, and this one it's just end at 0.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
So is capital improvement budget the one that's similar to zero-based, but it's over time they save up some money for whatever? So like
Which
if
one?
they have
capital improvement.
Is that the one that is like that?
Capital improvement? Trying to think.
I put that it's like a budget for a long term, so when you're adding a new feature like a pool, a zip line.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of because it's kind of like zero, so
Like
everything's
a
allocated.
savings almost. Like a goal savings, right?
Yeah, you have that goal, but then if you save extra, you can say, okay, let's roll that over into your long-term savings for that new pool or the new van or whatever.
Yeah. I think it was saying that hospitals do that, right? And then like big
Renovate things or something.
leisure education type thing would probably do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Line item budget, I kind of understood, but I kind of didn't while reading.
And that one wasn't in the podcast, right? That was just in the reading.
Yeah, I saw it also a little bit in the transcript for the podcast. It talks about a tiny, tiny bit, but it wasn't a lot. Sorry. But line item was like utilities, or if like electric was going to be one of the things. I always think of it as like an Excel worksheet of what you need every month, like a family budget type idea. Is that what it was?
Well, that one, I have that information under like a fee type budget. Well, I don't know. That was just the spreadsheet, the Excel. I don't remember about. Let me pull out my book.
Sorry. It's just been a while. I've been reading a lot.
No, you're good.
Combining classes here.
Yeah, I've got 3 right now, and I feel like they interbreed with each other, and so I just...
They do. Definitely.
Oh, I went for an internship interview the other day. That was fun.
Awesome. How'd that go?
Here, so exciting. Which, by the way, a lot of CTRS out there in hospitals, at least, are up on their stuff.
Yeah.
They have like 50 different books on therapeutic recreation in their one little office that they interview.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they use all the books. And there's a lot of regulations that are followed, so that was cool. And I found out that Medicaid and Medicare will cover TRS as long as you follow a certain regulation that they've just put in place. So that was interesting.
I am not seeing this one in the book either.
Okay.
I wonder if there's another name they call it by.
I think there was. In my notes, hold on, I'll check. I'm pretty sure there was 2 names. Just a second. Or 72, I think. Or 472. Okay. Oh, I guess I probably have it in podcast. Okay, right here. It's an object classification budget or a line item budget.
Okay. Yep, object classification I have.
Yeah.
Common expenditures, so like utilities and those things. Yep. I didn't have the other name by it, so I couldn't figure out what it was.
I honestly, if I hadn't have seen it in the transcript of the video, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. I just know that they kept saying everyone calls it a line item. Everyone calls it a line item. And I was like, okay, I remember that, I guess. So.
Yeah. So it's the one you were kind of talking about, your bills and your, things that you're going to keep paying every month and
expenditures, yeah.
Yeah. So you have a spreadsheet for it. Yeah, so you had it right.
Okay. We've got 3 down, right, that we've talked about?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I think there's still an enterprise fund?
Yeah. That's one where they make a profit?
Uh-huh.
their business.
Yeah, so like golf courses and tennis courts.
I think they talked about donations going in that one, right? Like nonprofit, they use the donation or something.
That could be a source of funds. I wonder where it went.
Or is it that they give a service and you pay for it type thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Could be both.
All right.
Yeah, I just have that it's like businesses, so golf courses, and they get more money than they spend, so that they're making it. They have surplus funds.
Well, and then they talked about if you lose those people, then the risk is that you lose the money.
But a pro of it is that with the profit you make on the other side of, like, for the golfing, whatever, you could subsidize a program for adaptive recreation kind of things, that cheaper for those who need it. I guess that's a pro.
Yeah.
Because it's still coming from somewhere, just not.
Yeah. That would be probably a unique part of that budget.
Yes.
So funding, maybe? Should we go into funding? Because I think we kind of identified them and talked about their unique things.
Yeah, I'd say so.
4 different types of funding from your readings or the podcast for your WPO agency.
So this, like, in the podcast, it said like funding alternatives, and then it had grants and fundraising and loans and donations. Is that like what this is talking about?
I think so.
Okay.
Because that's what I've always heard with different agencies. It's like grant writing and all that, yeah. And I remember it being in the podcast. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have under in my notes for the podcast.
What were the ones? Sorry.
There's third-party reimbursement, grants, fundraising, business loans, donations, investors, sponsors, and partnerships. And those are the ones from the podcast.
So I think you've identified them. Summarize each type of funding. So the first one you said was the third-party reimbursement.
I think we just need to talk about 4 that we could use, not 8 of them.
Right. I think so.
So Medicaid and Medicare is like one of the top ones for sure, at least in CTRS, I would think.
Yeah.
I know at the interview they were saying that they'll cover children and elderly with that. Because a doctor can prescribe it very easily, say that, well, they need to play, they need to have recreation in their life, especially in facilities. In facilities for a long time? That was
when we were still living in Rexburg, I volunteered at that developmental workshop place, and my supervisor was saying that in order for Medicaid to reimburse, they had to follow certain protocols, and they had to, like, it was even down to the, when you, how was it? They had to try it without a direct prompt before. They had to, like, implement it a certain way.
Yeah, I know at Journeys, you had to report every behavior or incident with a client to try and get Medicare's coverage, because it shows that the client still needs the coverage.
Yeah. It was just interesting that it was that deeply ingrained in the program.
Yeah. Yeah, the hospital that I went to in Blackfoot, what helped them a lot is they did on-site facility stuff. So they have like their own little crafts room, a place to watch movies. They have like all this little stuff. And then they have a canteen, which is like a little cafeteria. And the way they reward a lot of their clients after activities is they go to the canteen and they spend their money there. And when they spend their money there, it goes back into the hospital. So it's kind of like this cool recycling type thing.
Yeah, that is cool.
So what's the second one?
Grants.
I've heard grant writing is actually pretty hard to do if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
That you definitely want to have a good grant writer for a program.
My husband's family, they've started up this fish farm, and all the money that they've used has been grant writing. So I've seen his mom like write a bunch of grants, and that's, I mean, not the same as like medical, but still like getting money to run a business. And yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, my twins
have like professors coming and like they have to check and make sure they're doing the right things and following the right steps, and following through with what they wrote in the grants. They come out every couple months, and that's something you have to keep up on.
Yeah, it's pretty intensive situation. Sorry, my daughter, her new favorite thing with our TV is to stick her fingers in the VHS slot. I always have to watch and make sure she doesn't get them stuck. Peyton, come on. Stop. Play with the big fat box of toys you got. They're not dangerous enough, Mom.
I guess with like new programs and new things that like you're implementing, like having a grant would be important. Like, okay, we need the new money for this thing that we're trying to add to our facility, or we think it'll make a difference. I think grants would be good for there if you don't have the money. But
yeah, and that's when you'd want to write up a zero-based budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
What's the next one?
Fundraising.
Oh, yeah. I know some places don't do fundraising anymore. There's like different things to it now that you have to do. But it's a good one. I mean, everyone's always used it. I mean, like schools and stuff. Hey,
yeah. I know with I can't remember the name, nonprofit. Fundraising is a big thing for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But like hospitals and stuff, I don't feel like is
not really
as big for.
I don't think so. It seems like a lot of it they figure out a way to raise funds that's not, and a lot of it's
donations, sponsors, and
yeah,
things
so
like
they
that.
get things like grants, but just because they're a hospital.
Yeah.
So, what else?
Business loans.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For those if you can help not getting those, that'd probably be great.
Yeah.
I would have
maybe we could do like
home loans, car loans, student loans.
Yeah. So maybe we wouldn't use that one in our WPO. So the next one would be donations.
Well, I think with what we're going with our WPO, we should actually try to imitate like a hospital one. So
Yeah.
we'd probably put in grant writing and like Medicaid and Medicare.
Yeah.
Probably what we'd have in ours. Also, I don't know if we're supposed to put this in our WPO, but do we have like an age? Because I know the facility I went to, they had 11 to 17 in one building. They had 30 beds. And then they had like, I think 18 to 40, and they had like 30 beds. And then there was a nursing home facility with like, I think like 90 beds or something. So I don't know what we'd want to do in way of our plans for that, but.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we probably would need to have an age.
Yeah, our WPO got pretty heavily critiqued.
Yeah, I was looking at the others, and we were just not organized. And
yeah. I was thinking maybe what we'll have to do is just sit down and get it more organized. The way that they had it. But I found this structure, and I don't know why I didn't save it to my computer. But somewhere in there's like an example. I don't know if you saw it. It's for the WPOs.
Oh yeah.
Got like you just fill it in pretty much. It says like mission statement, and then it shows you the outline. Let me see if I can find that while we're doing this. I'm trying to think of. I think we've talked about everything, but I can try to find that right now and stop the recording if you want.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I'll just stop it because I think we've talked about everything we need to, right?
Yeah.